Hey everybody, this is Dan LoAlbo, aka the Tarp Guy. Not digging the selfie portion of the programming here, but my son has school today, so I don't have my videographer. So I'm going to put an Aero Easy cover on this 34-foot dump trailer today, and I thought while I was at it, I would give some quick pointers on installing the tarp housing on the front of this trailer. A little while ago, this trailer had a built-in wind deflector riser that was just cut off, and you could see it on the ground right here next to me. So that gives me a nice flush surface at the top. I'll be mounting a couple brackets on the front of the trailer and then mounting the tarp housing on top of those brackets. So thanks for watching. I'll give you some contact information at the end of the video. If you have any questions, you're welcome to call me. Thanks, let's get started. Well, I kind of jumped the gun and forgot to do a little videoing in between, but let's go up and take a look at what we have. You can see that the two brackets are installed and the tarp housing is sitting on top. I don't have it secured to the brackets yet, but the brackets are installed. So let's take a look at what we have up here. The brackets are installed, in this particular case, about 3 inches below the top lip of the trailer. So the top lip is about 3 inches above right here. And the reason for that is the tarp housing has a lip on the front that's about 3 inches, extends up towards the front. So I want to drop the tarp housing down so that lip is sitting pretty much right on top of the trailer. Drilled 2 holes, 1/2-inch holes, grade 8 bolts supplied with the system. So you can see the 2 holes there. I had a little gap here because of the trim, so I filled that gap with some washers. You can see that. Tighten that thing down nice and tight with some lock nuts. And then what I'm going to do is take and mark up in these holes here where I need to drill. I'm going to take the housing off, drill those holes, I'll put it back on top and secure it. On the other side, basically did the same thing. You want to make sure your brackets are nice and plumb to the ground, so it doesn't look quirky. So I try to get them nice and square on the trailer. And then we'll go around and take a look at the other side so you can see what the lip looks like. So here's our view from inside the trailer. You can see the back side of the tarp housing. And then along the bottom of this housing, there's that little lip that runs across the full length of the housing. And you can see I just kind of got it just above the top edge of the trailer. I don't want it laying on there, but I want it above it. And it's a smooth edge on the housing for the tarp to roll across, as opposed to this sharp jagged edge here that's on the trailer, which I'm going to grind that down a little bit later so it doesn't cut the tarp as it's retracting. The roller bar, you can see kind of hanging down. I haven't installed the motor yet. The motor will be installed right here. That roller bar will come up and connect to the motor, and that's what the tarp will roll up onto. There's a little view from back and what it should look like. The one nice and centered on the trailer. So I have even spacing on each side. So far, so good. Check back once I get the tarp and the motor installed. One more side note. There's the bolts coming through the brackets to support the tarp housing. At this point, I pulled the tarp housing off of the top of the brackets, brought it into the trailer. You can see where I marked my holes. And what I'll do is drill those holes, put the housing back on top, and secure it. Okay, so I've drilled the holes in the tarp housing. You can see where it lines up. Right there, I line up through here. And on the passenger side, I've already installed the bolts, and you can see a little black cushion, rubber bumper between the housing and the bracket. That just provides a little cushion for the housing to rest on. That's the way Aero sets it up. Other manufacturers do not use those. So you can see on this side, I have not yet installed the bolts, but here's a look at the cushion. So it'll just slide right up in between. I'll bring my bolt down through, put the nut on, tighten it up pretty good. Maybe about a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch gap between the bracket and the housing once I crush the rubber pad down. But it's looking good. Arrow's logo. Brackets are all nice and tight. So once I get this bracket, or once I get the housing secured on this bracket, I can go ahead and start installing the arms and the roller bar assembly. So there's a full look at the tarp housing completely installed. Got my tractor showing up over here so I can lift the trailer to run the wiring. But there's the housing installed, brackets in place, housing mounted on the brackets nice and tight. I'll finish out installing the arms. You can see I got that started on the back side here. We'll take a picture when it's all done. I'll give you information on my contact at the end of the video. If there's any questions, feel free to call me. Thanks for watching. Here's the final product. Roller head assembly in place. Undermount springs. Tarp's retracted. Come over here to the motor. I don't know if you can see it. Did a little drip lip with the wire. And then ran it down through a conduit because there was no cavity inside there to hide the wire. So I ran it through a conduit and then underneath. This is a frameless trailer, so we pivot right at the middle of the trailer as opposed to running to the end. Pivots here, came back up underneath the bottom of the trailer, the actual bed of the trailer, to our new connector, which is right there. So complete system, runs great, looks great. Check out the end of the video for contact information. If you have any questions, give me a call. Thanks.